All right, today we want to talk about scales. Scales. You must have heard the word scale, maybe something you see on fishes and stuff like that. But here we're talking about scale in music. Every discipline, every field of study has their own words that they use to refer to things. So in this case, scale is a pool of notes or musical sound from which we choose to make our melodies, to produce our music. It's just like if you have a building, a wall, for instance, that wall is made up of different blocks put together. Okay. So those blocks are like individual notes, individual sounds, which if you put together, you form your wall. So in music, musically speaking, we can say, okay, those blocks are musical sound that form the melody, which is the wall. A block on its own won't make a building. A block on its own won't even make sense. But if you put blocks together and cement them together, it forms a wall. It forms a wall. So when you put musical sounds together, they form a melody. So a scale is the arrangement of the different tones in a particular order, the different tones that make up a music in a particular order. So usually they are arranged from the lowest pitched to the highest pitched sound. So moving forward, let's look more into what scale really is. We have different types of scales. Like I said earlier, scale is just a collection of musical sounds upon which music is made. We have different types of scales. We have Arabic scale, the kind of scale we find in the Arab world, and you can see it defines their music. It helps to tell what the music is most likely going to look like. When you hear the music, you can hear, oh, these are the notes that make up the music. And when you arrange them in a particular order, you can form the scale that make up the music. We have African scales, we have European musical scales, and so on. But we want to concentrate on the general terms that define scales so that you can use it to study whatever scale you can find. We have a scale made up of two sounds, two unit sounds, and that is called diatonic scale. A scale of two sounds, diatonic scale. Listen to this music. It's made up of only two notes. It will give you an idea of what a music made up of a scale of two notes can sound like. If you watch, this scale is made up of only two notes, and the only two notes you're hearing throughout the music, and they are C and D. C and D only. That's a diatonic scale. Diatonic. A scale made up of three notes is called tritonic. Tritonic scale is a scale of three notes. Here is an example of a music made up of just only three notes. In this example, you can see that the scale had only three musical sounds. The music had only three musical sounds: C, D, and E. C, D, and E. No other sound, only just sounds. Three sounds. C, D, and E made up the music, so it's a tritonic scale. We can have a scale of four notes. We can have a scale of five notes. That's pentatonic. A scale of four notes is tetratonic scale. A scale of five notes is pentatonic scale. A scale of six notes is hexatonic scale. A scale of seven notes is heptatonic scale. Now, the most common type of scale out of all of them is the heptatonic scale. The heptatonic scale, seven note scale. Most of the music we hear are heptatonics, heptatonic scale. They're heptatonic in nature. They're made up of just seven sounds. Now, the heptatonic scale can be divided into two based on the European musical tradition. They're called the diatonic scale. They call it the diatonic scale. A diatonic scale is divided into two. We have the major diatonic scale and the minor diatonic scale. Both of them made up of seven notes, heptatonic in nature, major scale and minor scale. For the major scale, let us have a construction of C major scale. We're using C because that's the simplest. It will require no key signature. Don't worry about what key signature means. We're going to talk about it later. But in constructing a major scale, we want to use C major. Let's look at C major, how to construct a scale. Remember I told you that we can derive the scale of a music by checking out all the notes involved in the music and arranging them. And one of the scales we can arrive at is C major scale. So let's look at C major scale. You draw five lines and four spaces. That's what we use in writing music. After which you will insert the clef sign. After drawing your five parallel lines with four spaces between them, you apply the clef sign. Let's use treble clef. We use treble clef. Then, because the scale is C major scale, we're starting from C. Every scale starts with the name of the scale. So if you're starting G major scale, you start from G. If you're starting F major scale, you start from F. We're starting C major scale, so we'll go to C. Preferably, let's start with middle C. The C on the ledger line immediately below the treble staff. So we have a C, after which we have a D, alphabetically. After C is D is the next. Okay, so in constructing scale, we just take it like that alphabetically. So after C, the next should be a D. A, B, C, D. You remember the alphabets? C, D. After D, we'll have E, which is the first line of the treble staff. We'll have E. After that, space F. After that, line G. After that, we'll go to space A. After that, line B. And lastly, space C. Space C. That C is also called top C sometimes. Okay, so having done this, you have started from C and ended in C. So a scale starts with the alphabet that makes the name of that scale and ends with the alphabets that make the scale an octave higher. An octave means 8 steps above. We started from middle C and we counted C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. And that is 8 steps ahead of the middle C. So we have completed our scale in ascending order. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, starting from middle C. And then we can take the same thing in the reverse order in a descending form. So you have ascending as C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, and descending as C, B, A, G, F, E, D, C. The other way around, back to middle C. We started from middle C, went to top C, and then came back to middle C. So that is what a construction of scale looks like. And then you always end it with double bar line. That is how to construct a simple major scale. Remember, some will require you put key signature. So when we talk about key signature, you learn how to apply key signature to a scale. Meanwhile, this particular scale we did just now, which is C major, doesn't require a key signature. Doesn't require a sharp or a flat as key signature. So we are done constructing C major scale. If you watch the example we gave on heptatonic scale, which was just a melody, you see that it made use of the same scale. It started, if you play the melody, the scale in reverse order, C, B, A, G, F, E, D, C. If you play it in reverse order, that was exactly the same note they used in the first part of the the melody. Joy to the world, the Lord is come. It's a popular Christmas song. And if you watch, that was the same tones. Those were the same tones used for the melody. So they made use of the descending order of a major scale in beginning their melody. Okay, so that shows you the application of what I'm talking about. We use scales a lot in composing music, only that in a pure melody, you can have the notes used differently, like scattered or rearranged, not necessarily played in ascending and descending order like this. It can just be choose the notes that fit what you want. But the important thing is that the notes will be chosen from within the pool of notes you have here based on the key you are doing. If you are doing key G major, so you choose notes within key G. If you are doing key C major, just like the one we did just now, you choose notes from this. Okay, that is what it's like. Thank you. So the same way we have major scales, we also have minor scales. Okay, major scale, minor scale. Those are the two types of diatonic scale we have. Okay, so we usually derive our minor scale from an existing major scale. Let's take an example with the C major we just looked at just now. All you need to do is get a staff drawn, 5 parallel lines, or if you already have one, if you're using a manuscript, you have your 5 lines with you. The next thing you need to do is you apply your clef sign. Let's take use of let's make use of treble clef. So we have a treble staff now. So with a treble staff, the next thing you need to do is instead of starting your scale, you remember we don't have to place key signature here because we are using the same key signature as the one we used for C major. A C major scale and its relative minor will share the same key signature. A major scale and its relative minor shares the same signature, just like a father and a son can share the same surname, even though they are two different individuals altogether. the son can bear the same surname with the father. So C major has no sharp or flat as key signature, and so we're not applying any key signature yet. But if C major were to have a key signature, we are going to apply the same while constructing the scale of the relative minor. Okay, so we have our staff, no key signature, so we're done with the issue of key signature. Instead of starting our scale from C, we are going to start from the sixth note of C major scale. Remember, C major is C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. So you locate the sixth note, which is C, D, E, F, G, A. So A is our sixth note. So if you want to construct the relative minor of C major, you use the sixth note of C major to start for the relative minor. So we have A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A as our ascending. Remember, we start from A, we end in A. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. If you want to descend, you have A, G, F, E, D, C, B, A. That's ascending and descending order of the scale. So it is that simple. Remember, all you need to do is get your staff ready, apply your clef sign, apply key signature if applicable. Then, if you're done with your key signature, the next thing is to start constructing your notes. Remember, to get the first note, you need to apply, you need to get the sixth note of the major key that you are getting your scale from. So if I'm on C major and I want to get the relative minor, I'll go and start with the sixth note of C major. That becomes my first note. So the sixth note of a major key is actually the first note of his relative minor. So I'll start with A, which is the sixth note of key C, as my first note for the relative minor of key C major. So I've been calling it relative minor, relative minor. It has its own name. So the relative minor of C major is A minor. A minor, because it started on A. So A minor scale is the relative minor of C major scale. So A minor and C major are related, just like father and son. Relative keys share the same key signature. So C major and A minor will share the same key signature. The only difference is that they have a different starting point. While C major will start on C, A minor will start on A, but they will share the same key signature. 8 notes ascending and descending. That's how to construct a relative minor from an existing major scale. And what we just did now, we have different types of minor scales, three types. We have natural minor, harmonic minor, and melodic minor. What we just did now, deriving a minor scale from a major scale, the process we just followed now is simply called uh, natural minor. So we can say it's A natural minor scale. A natural minor scale because it's built on A. It's a minor scale. It's built on A. And A minor is the relative key or the relative scale to C major scale. So C major and A minor are related. They are relatives, the way we humans have relatives. So that is for that. So this is just how to construct a natural minor scale. Let us listen to a music to hear how a natural minor sounds like. In real music, we don't just play the scale and we're done. We pick notes from the scale and use it to form our music. So I'm going to play a music that uses a natural minor scale. So what we just did now is a natural minor scale. We can also have a harmonic minor scale. A harmonic minor scale is actually an alteration of a natural minor scale. So all you need to do is after constructing your minor scale, go to the seventh note of the scale, and raise it by a semitone. You raise it by a semitone. So if the note is a flat note like E flat, you apply a natural sign that will raise it by a semitone. If the note is a natural note, no sharp, no flat attached to the seventh note, you apply a sharp that will make it become a raised tone. So you raise the seventh note in ascending and descending order. Just go and apply a raised tone to the harmonic, the natural minor you have. Just go to your natural minor scale, go to the seventh note, and raise it. And I said, if the seventh note is a note that has a flat already, like the seventh note is an E flat, all you need to do is replace that with a natural. So if you have E flat, make it E natural, add a natural sign to it, and that makes it a raised note. If it is a normal natural note like F that doesn't have anything attached, then you make it F sharp, add a sharp to it, it becomes F sharp. If the note already has a sharp, all you need to do to the seventh note of that natural minor is to make it double sharp, and that will make your harmonic scale to emerge. Remember, you ought to have is create the natural minor scale first, then go to the seventh note and raise it by a semitone. You can go to the lesson on accidentals to show you how to raise a note by a semitone. And I just explained it now. If you have the seventh note as a flat note, like E flat, you make it a natural, and that gives you a raised note. If it's a sharp note, like F sharp, you make it double sharp. That will raise it by a semitone. If it's a natural note, like ordinary F, no sharp, no flat attached to the note, you all you need to do is make it a double sharp. And how do you know if the note has a sharp or a flat? I mean the seventh note. It's by looking at the key signature. Look at the key signature to see if it affects that note. If it does, check what affects it, whether it's a sharp or a flat, or whether it's affected at all. That will tell you how to raise it. And when you do that, you have arrived at your harmonic scale, harmonic minor scale. The harmonic version, I'll have the first note as this, second note as this, third note as this, fourth note as this, fifth note as this, sixth note as this, seventh note will be raised. You see, it sounds different. Eighth notes. So why natural scale sounds like this? Harmonic minor scale, harmonic minor will sound like this. I'll play it again. Natural minor will sound like this. Why harmonic scale will sound like this? You see, there's a difference. So you raise the seventh degree. Why ascending and why descending? Finally, the melodic minor scale. The melodic minor scale is a little bit different from the harmonic minor scale. In this case, while ascending, you raise the sixth and the seventh notes. Remember how notes can be raised? You raise the sixth and the seventh notes while ascending, and you restore them while descending. What it means is, if you know the effects you applied while descending, take those effects off. So if I have E flat as my note while ascending, and then I now raise it by a natural sign, it means that when descending, I will put the E flat note back. If I have a sharp and I raised it to become a double sharp, while descending, I'll put back my normal sharp instead of the double sharp that I raised it with. So those effects you apply while ascending, restore them while descending. If you have a flat, it will become a a natural so that you can raise it while ascending. But while descending, you remove that flat, that a natural sound and put back your flat. If it is a sharp, while descending, you put back your sharp because you must have raised it with a double sharp while ascending. So that is how to construct a melodic scale. So the natural a melodic minor scale. So the natural scale is in its natural form. Natural minor scale is in its natural form. The harmonic scale raises a note, that is the seventh note, raises it while ascending and while descending, raises the seventh note, and then the melodic minor raises the sixth and seventh only while ascending and restores them while descending. So let's look at what a music in harmonic minor scale sounds like. An example of a music that has a melodic minor, you notice that sometimes the notes are raised, sometimes they are restored. We also have another type of scale entirely different from the diatonic scale, though related to it because some of the notes of the diatonic scale can be found there. It's called a chromatic scale. In a chromatic scale, all the notes are involved, all the 12 notes are involved in constructing the scale. So, why we have a diatonic scale sounding like this? A chromatic scale will sound like this. You see, it's very different. That is the chromatic scale for you. And the chromatic scale it makes use of all the notes. So you have C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F sharp, G sharp, A sharp, B, and C. That is the those are the notes that make up a chromatic scale. And a chromatic scale has two ways it is constructed. We have the harmonic chromatic scale and the melodic chromatic scale.